Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks again for tuning in. I am going on a long run today. It is thankfully not too long. This is the last 4 weeks of my training before the London Landmarks Half Marathon. So today is 60 minutes on feet, and the pace, the speed, whatever, the distance, doesn't matter. It's just about getting time on feet, and I'm planning on doing it wonderfully slowly because I've been doing a lot of faster interval sessions recently, and to be honest, I get quite nervous before them because I know that I have to really push myself for the entire time, whereas going out for an hour, I know that I can't go that fast for the whole thing. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to take it easy, just going to be chill for the whole thing, and hopefully enjoy it a lot more as well. It's also the first day that it's been sunny this week pretty much. It's been miserably rainy for like every other run that I've done, so I'm very excited to get out and hopefully get some vitamin D as well, because it is sorely lacking in the UK at the moment. But first I'm going to go make some breakfast and have some coffee, then I'm going to get dressed, and I'm not heading out until about 11. And I know some of you guys have asked why I do all my runs fasted. I don't at all. It's just that when I'm filming it tends to be in the morning, because if I'm filming in the evening it's usually dark outside, so impossible to film, or at least not exactly visually appealing. So yeah, it's usually when I film I go out early in the morning, and if I go out early in the morning I tend not to eat first because my body can't handle food that early, / I don't want to have to wake up at 6 in order to let it digest first. But yeah, gonna go make some breakfast and then I'm gonna head out. That I have seems to vary every day. It just kind of depends what I've got in the kitchen cupboards at the time. At the moment I've got a lot of granola, so I'm getting through a lot of granola, which is really good. I always try and finish breakfast around an hour and a half to 2 hours before I start running, which is why I don't eat before going for runs like early in the morning, just because I can't be bothered with earlier mornings. Yeah, it's just before 9 o'clock and I'll be running at about 11. So yeah, plenty of time. Always like to have the massive coffee, partly because it's psychosomatic and it wakes me up even though it's decaf, and partly because I'm always so dehydrated in the morning, so having like a massive cup of coffee seems to just like get everything going, which is really nice. I'm going to be running today with my physio, who has helped me post-marathon last year, which was literally this time last year, and helped me get back onto the road and back running again. And I did the Brighton 10k 5 weeks after the marathon, I think it was. I'm doing the Brighton 10k again this year, and that will be 3 weeks after my half marathon. So I'm working with her closely to make sure that we can kind of prevent injury, or as much as we can, rather than kind of reactively trying to react to the kind of injuries that come my way. We know which ones I might be gonna get, so yeah, so we're just trying to like preemptively stop those by doing a lot of stuff in the gym. So hopefully I'll be able to ask you guys, ask her some of your guys' questions and give you some interesting information as well. But obviously remember that everyone's individual, so everything we say will be caveated with, like, if you're struggling, you should visit a physio, because someone's advice on the internet, no matter how qualified they are, is no substitute for personalised information. I just want to introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, which is LIFEPROOF. I've been working with LIFEPROOF on and off for a few years now, and I've been using their cases on my phone for a long time, because I am like the ultimate person who would just be like throwing their phone around the place. And obviously I'm super active, which means that when I'm taking my phone everywhere, and I mean you've seen me on my runs like taking stories on the side of cliffs and like doing trail runs and all this kind of stuff, I am pretty prone to just throwing my phone on the floor at random times. And I think the only way that my phone has lasted 2 years like it has is because I've been using LIFEPROOF. And what it is cases that are made to be for basically people who are pretty active, which I would assume is all of you guys as well. So I'm currently using their free case. Let me just show you. So this is the LIFEPROOF free case. This is on, I've got a Galaxy phone, but they have them for iPhones as well. And it is totally waterproof, which is very handy when I'm out in the rain, which has literally been every run this week, trying to do things on my phone. And I've had previous issues where old phones have died because of water damage, or literally just sweat as well. And so so this case I'm hoping will protect it from that. And then previous cases as well, they do lots of different varieties for active people. Previous cases have just been for when I throw it on the floor or when it drops out of my bag, when I'm kind of getting it out for photos and all that kind of stuff. So it's perfect collaboration for me because I've already been using them for so long, and I think they are also the ideal phone case for people who are super active in everyday life. And they've also got an armband that I used to use before I used bags for other extra layers and stuff. If I didn't want to take a bag out, then I would have an armband for my phone, but rather than having to slot your phone in and like struggling to play around with it as you're on the run, you just clip it on, and that is the Life Active case here. I'm not using this one today, but what it does is you can literally just slot your phone onto it. It's got like a little clasp at the back that means that you can slot it on without having to struggle and just slide it in when you're on the run. So yeah, they've got all sorts of clever technology that are just made for people who are on the run the whole time, either literally or figuratively. And I think I'm both, like a lot of the time. If you take a look at their stuff, I hope you like it. I hope you find it useful. And thanks to LIFEPROOF for sponsoring this. Alongside my phone and my LIFEPROOF case, I am wearing Nimble activewear. You may have seen this in my last vlog. It's got recycled bottles inbuilt into the fabric, so it's obviously a little bit more sustainable than some other options. I've not worn this running yet, but someone messaged me to ask if I could wear it running to test it out and let you guys know what it's like. So that is exactly what I'm doing. I haven't run in it yet, so I will let you know what I think. But so far it feels really nice and supportive. It's also a super nice colour, and I like matching. It makes me feel like I've got my life together a little bit. And then I've got an Asics over top, which is just because it looks very cold outside. Might put on an extra layer as well over that. And then I've also got my Jack Wolfskin bag. As you guys know, I always run my bags because it just means I can put extra layers in there. Keys, wallet, card, phone, and headphones as well when I'm running with a friend. And then of course, got all my LIFEPROOF stuff, my phone and my headphones. Some people have asked what headphones these are. They're called Monster Elements, pure monster sound. I found them in a charity shop and they're pretty good. I don't think they're meant for running specifically, and sometimes I find over-ear headphones a little bit hot when it's hot outside, but in general in this weather actually it's quite nice to keep my ears warm. And then I have some gloves. These are running gloves from Sweaty Betty, but basically everywhere does running gloves. I just find them handy because handy punny. My hands get seriously cold, even just like sitting inside. So when I'm out, I like to have gloves on, and I look like, what do Rhian call it? A cat burglar, apparently. Cat burglar? Is that a thing? Anyway, yeah, it's got a hole in for my phone stuff as well. Not on purpose, they're just broken. Realised my phone case and bag match. Looks quite nice though, no? So I found a Zoe. Say hi. Hi. Zoe's my physio and has been my physio for around a year now, about exactly. Can you introduce yourself and like what you do and what you specialise in?
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm one of the physios at Physio Motion. I specialise in musculoskeletal injuries, but particularly in runners and lower limb problems.
And what sort of sports do you do yourself?
Oh, I swim, run, cycle,
Full triathlon.
Good. Try to get into some other stuff like mixed martial arts and climbing.
Nice, that's a bit of everything. Okay, so next question for Zoe. I'm stealing all her knowledge so we can get some good information into this. What advice would you give to runners first starting out and wanting to get fitter without injury?
I would definitely start if you haven't run before or you're coming back to running, to do intervals. So start with a really short distance and do a run walk, and then slowly increase the amount of time you're running, but keep the time you're walking the same. But also making sure you give yourself recovery days.
Yeah.
And also
that was what my last vlog was about.
Strength and conditioning.
Yeah. Woo! I have no idea where we're going, so he's leading this run.
Yeah, and making sure you have at least 2 days of strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
For the whole of your legs. And 2 rest days that your body has time to recover, because you'll be less likely to sustain injuries.
Yeah.
good advice. Couch to 5K do some good run walk programs. I think it's a really good way for anyone who is first getting into running and maybe doesn't have that much of a base in strength and conditioning as well, because if you first start, like, sure, your heart and your lungs might be able to cope with it, but if your ligaments and your muscles can't, then you're at much higher risk of injury. And that's basically what I did, and that's why I was constantly injured. No longer, thanks to Zoe.
It's brilliant.
It's definitely an improvement. I know where I'd rather be, and it's on horseback. That's easier and a lot more fun. This is just standard London views, everyone. I've ridden along here once and we weren't allowed to go faster than a trot, and I nearly cried. Oh, they just want to canter. Hi horses! Okay, so Zoe, I get asked a lot of questions about knees and hips, because obviously I've had my fair share of injuries and whatever, tightness and blah blah blah, but I don't feel qualified to give generic advice, because obviously I'm not qualified to give generic advice. If someone's experiencing knee pain on a run, like, what would you suggest?
Well, it depends on where it is. Is it at the front of the knee? Is it on one of the sides? And it could be a few things. It could be that your body's not used to having that load put through it because you're not strong enough, and you're overloading the body for what it's capable of. It could be typically on the inside of the knee. Typically I find it's tight hamstrings, and it's actually where the hamstrings are not strong enough. After a while they're tighter, and because they insert around that area, it will irritate that area, so you get very localized pain. The other one is anterior knee pain.
Where's your anterior?
At the front of the knee.
Yeah.
And if it's below your kneecap, it's typically a fat pad impingement, or it could be a patella tendon, which is irritated. And again, that's normally a loading issue, where you haven't got the capacity to put the load through it. Therefore your quads get tight and increase the pressure around the area, because your quads attach into your patella tendon.
So what advice would you give then if they're struggling with those?
You don't have to stop running, you just need to go back to the distance that didn't cause you pain.
Yeah.
And start from there, but then add in some strengthening stuff. So it may be good to have even just a one-off session with a physio to work out where your weaknesses are and what you need to strengthen.
If you're suffering with pain, stop running the distance that's causing pain, but go back to the distances that didn't cause pain. Visit a physio, even just once, just to make sure that it is the thing that you think is hurting. And also increase strength and conditioning training. That's like going to be a recurring theme here, isn't it?
It is going to be recurring.
Obstruction. We're just on the last very sunny bit of our run. I got asked some questions about hip pain and tight hip flexors and stuff, and it's obviously something runners deal a lot with. So why do runners often have hip pain? What is it a sign of, and how can you deal with it?
So tight hip pain is normally a sign. One of the signs is that you're overusing your hip flexors to drive you forward, because you've got a weakness in your posterior chain.
This is my problem, by the way. This is what my coach says as well.
But also it could be to do with your gait pattern, that you're overstriding.
Also my problem.
Which means you have to use your hip flexors a lot more, and they might not be strong enough to be able to do that. So what they do is they shorten to be able to cope with that load, especially when they get fatigued.
Okay, so what would you do, like, if you're struggling with pain? How do you alleviate that, other than obviously fixing your gait and strengthening your posterior chain?
So while you're doing those things, because it's not going to be an overnight change from increasing the strength and changing your gait, there's a great stretch you can do in like a lunge position, either with your foot on a chair, the back foot, or if you want an extreme stretch, you can have your back leg against the wall with your toes pointed. Depends how horrible you're feeling to yourself.
You want to show it on a bench?
Yeah, so you'll put your foot on the bench, back knee on the floor. It's
hopefully not a spiky floor.
As close to the bench as you can get, and then sitting up tall, and then kind of pushing your hips forward into that stretch, and you should feel it at the front of your thigh and also in your hip. And I would say hold it for about 30 seconds, but as you feel it easing off, think about pushing further into that stretch so you really increase that length.
Honestly, it hurts just looking at you. I can feel that pain in my hips already. Perfect, thank you very much. So I got one question that's quite specific, but Zoe said that it might be quite helpful to answer, and that's, what would you recommend someone who is looking to train who's got type 1 diabetes and maybe hypothyroidism as well?
So with treating people with type 1 diabetes in the past, you need to really listen to your body if you've got these problems, and slowly increase the amount of exercise you're doing to make sure that you don't deplete your sugar levels too quickly. So the interval stuff is great if you're starting to run, and just slow, you probably take it slightly slower than somebody else to increase the amount of endurance exercise that you're doing. But also make sure you take something sugary with you. There's a great gel called HypoStop. So if you do feel unwell, you can get an instant shot of sugar to stop you going hypoglycemic.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Zoe. Okay, so we've just stopped after 50 minutes of running, and I do get a lot of questions about stretches, and I personally don't stretch that much, and I know Zoe's neither of us are a massive fan, but there are certain stretches you can do if you're a fan of stretching, you feel like you need it, both pre and post run. And since we're post run, Zoe's going to demo some of those now.
So pre-run, you probably don't want to do anything static. The research out there shows that by doing stretching before a run, actually it affects how easy it is for you to activate your muscles, but also you can put yourself more at risk of getting a injury. So for long distance running, you really don't need to do it because you'll slowly warm up anyway. It would be more for the sprinters that you'll want to do like a slow jog just to warm everything up, and a couple of exercises to activate the muscles, not to kind of stretch the muscles
and
out.
Drills as well, like that kind of thing as well.
It's much better.
They're more active rather than just like sitting there doing a stretch.
But after a run, I still say that active stretching is much more beneficial than static stretching. So if I go through a few, we've got stepping forward, bending the back leg, and then reaching towards your heels, swooping through, step through, swoop. And so you're just trying to get as close to your heels as you can. If you're not that flexible, it's just getting to where you can reach, but it's just step distance. And then for the hips, because you've been running in one position, a nice one to do is circling the hips out and then reversing and coming in.
Yeah, I like this one as well because I get really tight hips, so actually sometimes it's nice to open them up a little bit.
And then for the front of your legs, like we showed on the bench, a more kind of dynamic one would be kind of doing an over-exaggerated lunge, but keeping the back leg straight, so that you can feel it at the front of your hips.
Nice, so people can do those after a run, and that will hopefully reduce DOMs maybe?
Yeah, it will reduce DOMs, but you're still going to have some because you have used your legs. But it might also be nice to do the next day as well because it is dynamic, and you don't have to warm up before you do them.
Thank you very much, Zoe. See ya. Okay, just dropped Zoe back off at her workplace, and I'm gonna run home. I'm gonna do the last bit a little bit quicker, just so that I'm getting a bit more like energy into my legs. It's nice though, feet going at like, I guess my it would be slightly slower than my half marathon pace, but it feels so easy compared to when I was first starting, like even this training round a few weeks ago. But yeah, I guess back in January, a 5:30 pace was feeling kind of like I was kind of pushing, whereas now 5:30 pace is very much conversational, it's super chilled. Yeah, so I guess it's proof that the interval sessions and then the longer runs is actually working quite well without me having to do really long training weeks. This will take me to about 25 kilometers for this week, and then I might do a 5K tomorrow morning as well. That was such a a nice run. It was like 12.5k, took about an hour and 5 minutes I think. Felt super relaxed the whole way, which compared to the runs I've been doing this week, honestly, every single step has been painful on like the other runs that I've done this week, so I'm a bit sweaty. And it actually made me really upset because I was like, look, I've been training really hard and now I'm doing like a 20-minute run, and every single time I'm putting my feet down, it feels like my body is just like, stop running, stop running, stop running. Which, to be fair, like, is me when I go running. Every step is painful, but this week it's been like another level of I don't want to do this, whereas today it all seemed to come together. And granted, I was going like a minute per kilometre slower, even more than that actually, but it felt just smooth, easy as running can get, and just really nice. And it's sunny, and it was nice to chat to Zoe as well. I mean, she's so knowledgeable, as you guys will be able to tell. It's just nice to be able to kind of chat through things with her, and also just show her that I really appreciate the fact that a year later, when literally I couldn't like run this time last year, I'm running 12.5k, sort of 25-30k a week, and not feeling any pain at all, touch wood. So fingers crossed, all is good. Let me just show you the run. It was a beautiful route. I'm lucky here that even though obviously I have to go on the roads to get anywhere not polluted, I've got the river path just 2.5 kilometers away, and then I've got Hyde Park also 2.5 kilometers away. So if I want to go somewhere that's nice and grassy, I have that option within like a reasonable distance. Let's see what Strava says. Today's run was 12.53 kilometers. It was average heart rate, which I'm trying to get down because obviously, like most of my runs, I've been complaining about how I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack the whole way through. 167 BPM, which is good for me. That's like probably 140 for anyone else. Max heart rate 194. That'll be me sprinting the last bit. Pace average 5:13 minutes per kilometer, and it felt easy. Like it felt like a kind of 5:30-5:40 minutes per kilometer run. But I guess that's because it's on the flat compared to when I'm running in Dorset, and it's obviously really hilly. So you know, you can take that with a pinch of salt. Pace max 3:04 minutes per kilometer. Pretty good. I'm really happy with that, and I hope you found the insights from Zoe helpful as well. Obviously, if you are struggling and you have some injuries, I would really recommend going to visit a physio, even as she says, even if it's just once, just so that you know that you're treating the right thing. If you're kind of self-treating, then know that you're actually treating the injury that you actually have, rather than like some other injury that kind of shows itself in a similar way but actually is due to a different thing, if that makes sense. So I hope you found that useful. It was really enjoyable for me and nice to get out in the sun, and obviously not every run is easy, not every run is nice, as I have proved this week. Most runs, many runs, can be pretty miserable, but it's all worth it for the runs that feel like today's one. So if you're thinking about getting out there, just do it, just get out there, whether it's sunny or rainy. The rainy runs make the sunny ones so much nicer. And I hope you found this useful. If you have any other questions, you can put them down and I'll try and answer them over on my Instagram, because it's easier to do on the stories over there. Go and follow me on there if you've not already. And if you did enjoy this vlog, please do hit thumbs up. And go and follow Zoe on Physio Motion Limited on Instagram, and they've got a Twitter account as well where they share lots of exercises and mobility and stretches and all that kind of stuff. And she is filled with information that I don't have, so yeah, go check her out and hit the subscribe button if you've not already, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. See you later. Bye.